America is in a much weaker position to combat the various forms of nonviolent extremism known as Dawa because of the way the judicial system has interpreted the First Amendment. Ali believes that this judicial course of action, which has eviscerated American exceptionalism and turned that into an exceptional handicap. Again, the judicial system has eviscerated American exceptionalism and turned that into, she says, an exceptional handicap. Wow. Tough, sharp, smart words, don't you think? But convincing Americans of the Dawa threat, which includes jihad, would be extremely difficult, she says, if not in some cases impossible. Americans, she thinks, are naive and trusting and looking for the good in people, including Islamists, and may never awaken to the threat of Dawa until it is too late. Our society, she says, given its political philosophy and tolerant and indifferent mentality, makes us ill-equipped to suppress threats from groups that act in the name of religion, says Ali. And that is especially so with Islam and its avowed mission of Dawa and jihad. So then, my fellow Americans, never forget Dawa, and you should associate that four-letter word with Islam, especially so-called peaceful Islam, as you look at the effect of this religion and the political and military philosophy of Islam on our society. Islam through Dawa, this political ideology, is now aggressively at work and always will be, keeping Muslims energized to work hard for the ultimate objective of imposing Sharia law on all societies, including and especially the countries of the West and America. Every true Muslim has the objective to convert non-Muslims to political Islam and the religion, no matter what they say. We the people should never forget the words of Professor Hirsi Ali, remember that name, who states courageously and emphatically, the ultimate goal of Islam is to destroy the political institutions of a free society and replace them with Sharia law. And again, my fellow Americans, that process never ends. Never. We the people are deceived if we think it does. And again, Professor Ali is determined to get the attention of the Trump administration, exhorting the president to be aware of this most serious threat and act aggressively against it. At the same time, Ali takes her message to gentler, kinder Muslims, true religious Muslims, the Mecca Muslims, urging them to assimilate in Western societies and reform Islam or even convert from it. Small wonder this courageous Somalian woman, this brilliant professor has, like Salman Rushdie, multiple fatwas kill her on her head. We can only hope and pray that she does not meet the violent end that Islamist extremists passionately want. America is blessed to have a right-thinking woman, a woman no less, which makes her even more of a challenge for Islam, speaking out as a leader of the resistance movement to Islamic Dawa and Jihad. We of the Judeo-Christian background and beliefs can only pray for her safety and encourage her to continue with her special and vital mission. We the people must stand up and protect our institutions, our freedoms, our culture, our way of life, especially against this insidious Islamic movement, this Dawa, and this Jihad. Or the freedoms we now enjoy and far too much take for granted, oh, is that so true, far too much take for granted, will be lost, and if lost, in the words of President Ronald Reagan, will be lost forever. Professor Ali believes that, and so do I. And I hope and pray you do as well, so you will stand up. Far too few Muslims integrate and assimilate. Witness Dearborn, Michigan. Far too few. This separateness, this cocooning, this preservation of ideology and of culture and of way of life and of religion, as these numbers increase, will eventually destroy the American way of life we take for granted. Don't let it happen, says Professor Ali. Don't let it happen, my fellow Americans. Don't let that happen.
The views expressed here on the Crawford Stand are those of the speaker, and Mr. Crawford really wants you to weigh in on this week's topic. Tell him what you think in your email to stand@crawfordbroadcasting.com. Be sure to tell him on what station you hear his commentaries when you write to him at stand@crawfordbroadcasting.com. And when you want to review what you hear, go to our website, www.crawfordbroadcasting.com. The Crawford Stand is a public affairs presentation of Crawford Broadcasting Company and this station, serving God and country. And I'm Bill McCormick.
This is News, Politics, and Commentary with Bob Dutko.
The Congressional Black Caucus is a caucus made up of 49 members of Congress who all happen to be Democrat, all happen to be liberal, all happen to be African American. Well, President Trump met with the Congressional Black Caucus shortly after coming into office. Said, I want to meet with you, I want to talk with you. Let's see if we can find some common ground, let's work together. So they had a meeting. And in this meeting, President Trump told them, here's the things I would like to do to help black communities, to help the inner city poor. I believe that our conservative policies will help pull people out of poverty, and he tried to give his best reasons and arguments for this, but he was also there to listen. And so the Congressional Black Caucus told him, here's the kind of things we would like to see you do. They had this meeting. So now, what President Trump has done is he says, I want to meet with you guys again. Let's get together, let's talk some more about this. So, sent an official White House invitation to the Congressional Black Caucus. They refused. They declined. They said, no, we're not going to bother meeting with you. As a matter of fact, what they said in their letter to President Trump, they said, quote, as chair of the Congressional Black Caucus, I write today to acknowledge receipt of your staff's communication inviting the Congressional Black Caucus to meet with you. In written communication dating back to January 2017, we took advantage of every opportunity to educate you on the needs of the black community and provide you with the information and solutions necessary to act on them in good faith. We have seen no evidence that your administration acted on our calls for action. And we have in fact witnessed steps that will affirmatively hurt black communities. While we agreed to explore possible future discussions when we first met, it has become abundantly clear that a conversation with the entire CBC would not be entirely productive, given the actions taken by your administration since our first meeting. Your invitation to meet at this time, the CBC as a caucus declines your invitation to meet at this time. And so really, folks, if you think about it, what they're saying to President Trump, which is in kind of an insulting way, too, is that we expect you to be liberal. If you're not going to give us the liberal policies of bigger government and welfare expansion and all that kind of stuff, if you're not going to listen to us, if you're not going to obey us, if you're not going to do what we say, what we tell you to do, then we're going to consider it a waste of time to even talk with you. Can you imagine if this were the other way around? Can you imagine if President Trump said to the CBC, hey, I told you guys some things that I believe are necessary to help inner city poor, to help turn poor people into former poor people, to help lift up the economic plight in so many poor communities in this country. And you guys in the CBC, you refuse to take my advice, so therefore I'm not going to waste my time talking to you anymore. Can you imagine if the Congressional Black Caucus asked President Trump if they could meet with him, and he said, no, it'd be a waste of my time because you won't listen to me. Can you imagine such a thing? Yet that's what they're doing with President Trump. And the ultimate irony is that liberals regularly accuse the Republican Party of dismissing the black community and not doing enough to reach out to them. Well, here's President Trump reaching out with a hand of friendship to say, let's talk some more, and the hand is getting smacked away.
Bob Dutko News, Politics, and Commentary is a public affairs presentation of Crawford Broadcasting Company, The Stand, and this station. The views and opinions expressed are not necessarily those of the Crawford Broadcasting Company, its affiliates, ownership, or management.